My name is Filip Lannoye. I work for the Brussels region Informatics Center, and I'm very glad to present you this morning our council application, which we made in partnership with Real Dolmen, and introduced it to Gabriel Willems, who accepted to take the occasion to talk with you as well. And he will be a bit the complement of what I'm going to tell you here, since I'm responsible for the service management part of CIRB. And so everything has to do with the use of the application and continue to have it running and to implement it to our customers. Whereas Gabriel is working under the hood, and he's really on the side of creating and developing the application, engineering it. So all tough technical questions afterwards are for Gabriel. Okay? Thank you. We gave it, I think, a bit of an appealing name, Alfresco at the core of driving change in local administrations by dematerializing councils. I would like to stress this part of driving change, that this is the core element of what I'm going to show you here. Our application is called BOSS. It's an historical name, and originally it meant something like back office, secretary. Now it's called BOSS, but besides that, we call it with a second liner here, Council Online. So that's the real application name now. First, a few words on our organization, and I will really quickly go through that. So our company is bilingual in Brussels. It's CIRB-CIBG, in English, BRIC, Brussels Region Informatics Center. We work for the Brussels Capital Region. Some of you know, in Belgium we have like 3 regions, political regions, Flanders, Wallonie, and Brussels in the middle. And our company is a public company working and delivering IT services for Brussels. And so every authority, every local authority that has to do with Brussels can take services from us. Over 230 bodies use our services, so municipalities, welfare offices, schools, you name it. And we exist since 1989, and we have actually over 260 people, actually 280 in the meantime. A few words on RealDolmen as well, for our partner.
Yeah, so let's present myself. I'm Gabriel Willems, working for RealDolmen. I started to play and have fun with Alfresco in 2006. I think it was the version 2.1. So many years, many versions, and maybe too much upgrade, but yeah, it's another story. RealDolmen is a Belgium company working on Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. We are more than 1,000 people. The main goal of RealDolmen is to be a single source offering for our customer. So we are present in infrastructure, professional services, business solution, like ECM and so on. About Alfresco, we are Alfresco Gold partners since 2008. More than 15 Alfresco consultants working 100% on Alfresco. We have certified engineer, administrator, trainers. We also have some solution based on Alfresco, activity stats and CCMA. Activity stats is available for free, open source.
Okay. Now, at BRIC, we are doing much more than only building applications on top of Alfresco. We deliver our services across our public network, fiber optic network, IRISNet. And so everything that has to do with the telco services, telephony, internet, you name it, is also managed with BRIC. We have our own regional data center. It's still growing. We have different sites at the moment, and heading forward towards a big new construction. All cloud-based, and we are in VMware technology mainly. Next. .Brussels is a new domain, new top-level domain extension, which is gone live last Monday here. And so this is a look at the regional website, the regional authority. And I was just wondering if I could present you my boss. Actually, this lady is our Minister of IT in Brussels. And so the new top-level domain .Brussels is now going live. So every site will be brick.Brussels, anything.Brussels. A few realizations, and just remember some names of them, since we'll come back on that at the end of the presentation. Irisbox is a typical application. It's a one-stop shop for online services we provide for the citizens. So citizens who need certain forms and certain paper forms, even from the administrations, can do all the request part at home, and they just connect with their identity card, the certificate on that, and then they go through an entire process. FixMyStreet is one of our big realizations as well, which was the second element where we built an app as well. And so now people going in the streets can download this application from the App Store or from Apple Store. You see a hole in the street, or there is damage in public infrastructure, whatever. You take a photo, it's geolocalized, and you send it through with comments to the central office. And then there's an entire set of workflows going on, and have people finally come and repair all the damage. So of course our part is there, IT part, so providing back office application, the website as well, and so building the app as well and maintaining it. Just 2 words on Nova. Nova is a big application that exists over 7-8 years. It's one we built to manage everything that has to do with construction and environmental permits in Brussels. Every permit for this kind must legally be introduced and treated across this application. We have a legal background for that nowadays. And you see here, this one is a visualization on the map of Brussels with the number of permits going on, etc. Also remember this name for the end of the presentation, please. We'll come back on this one as well. We do much more than that. Everything has to do with cartographic information. We create data. We create cartographic data. We make them exploitable with web services. We use these same web services ourselves, and we provide them free to the community. We make web services with that. We integrate them in websites, everything. Europe's zone, free Wi-Fi. A lot of towns, a lot of big cities offer Wi-Fi services to visitors, to citizens. Well, we do our share as well. We also got a big investment plan in schools for over 12, 13 years now. I provided them with equipment, and lately now we are moving towards fiber to the school project, which is now a state-of-the-art project for the next 4 or 5 years. And so the idea is to provide any means that are necessary for good education of people in Brussels. We're also heading towards the CCTV platform. And one last thing here. Brussels is also going to be a smart city, and we would like to participate actively in that as well. So let's come to the core of our presentation here, our Council Online. And I would first like to start with setting the scene. We have a little animation on that, made by developers and the whole development team themselves, so all my credits go to them. It was a big surprise to see that these guys have also other things to do than to program from the morning to the evening. So they make a nice presentation. It's a bit long, but I will only show you 3 minutes, and just to give you an idea of what it's like. Oops. I invite you to go on a journey with us to one of the loveliest town halls of the municipalities of Brussels. This one is of Watermaal-Bosvoorde, and you'll see. Some of the texts between them are in French or in Dutch, since it's done in bilingual, so I'll comment a little bit on that during the little show here. So relax and see what the problem are that we are trying to solve. So one of the first workers has to introduce points for the boards of the council. He made his points, he's printing the whole thing. It's going up and down, going to see his chef. And of course, the chief always has comments, so please get back, change your text. Okay, there we are, second round. Okay, let's waste this little paper. This seems like a little approval, no? Last comments, and there we go. Okay. Now it's up to the chief to comment the entire file. Okay. One step further, the chief is happy, so now he's going to see his departmental responsible. That seems okay as well. Okay. And so in different areas there are points to introduce for certain decisions on the board. They come all together. Okay. And now the secretary can start preparing the order of the council. And so can go through all the different signatories, copy all the points by hand. He's getting tired. It's too much. Okay. At the end, he's going to print the preparations of the council with all the points that are to be treated. In some administrations, they told us that board members that go in council, they receive like this bunch of paper right at the start, like 600 pages, sheets of paper for each council. It's crazy. This also happens, huh? So the guy going to his responsible and putting the papers towards him here. Okay. A small problem, so the guy will have to come to the office to get his papers himself. Huh? Then join the board. They're working through the different papers. You see the picture. Now accelerate a bit here. And I come to the end of the council where everything is signed off. Okay, I stop it here. This gives quite an idea of the workflow actually that you saw busy here. Of course, it doesn't stop here, since afterwards all these points are resumed and are going to be commented back to the different requesters. And there's also certain communication that has to be done to the regional authorities, depending on the nature of the points that are treated. Now, let's get back to the presentation and let's show us sorry. Okay, this one is better. So now, we walk you through certain screens of the application to have you have a glance of the application as it is nowadays. As I told you, the application has to be bilingual, since we work for the Brussels region, and every user has the right to use application rather in Dutch, rather in French. So we took here a series of screenshots in French. First of all, the user has to identify himself. And then every different customer, every administration who is active on the platform today will have his own environment, which is customized. And so here in the beginning is choose his instance. Now some people are working for different instances, so they must be able to switch between environments. So this is the main screen in the beginning, where you see different environments to point a little bit. Different cases that exist, or that are to be prepared, or that are to be followed up. And so in the beginning here, of course, they're going to create a new case file. And in this case, so the point that has to be submitted to the boards, you have all necessary fields to fill out here, with the identification of the date, the creator, the requester, the departments, whatever. There are different natures of points, and according to the natures, we'll have like differentiation in the workflow behind the entire process here. This is the kind of thing that is dealt with here on this side. So the type of point, the type of assembly, the responsible authority, yes or no, that kind of things. And so here in the middle, information is entered in French and or in Dutch, depending on the case. And so there's like a text editor to have a proper formatted text in the case file itself. Text is completed then, with also an history here of the point itself. Of course, sometimes we also need to attach files to them. One of the cases that is very frequent there is to have like permits, construction permits, and they come with big plans. And so we have to digitalize it as well and to have it in a certain form attached or linked to this application itself. Otherwise, people will go on and have copies and copies and copies of the same big plans and other documents. Once we're done here, you see the screen of all the attached files. And then we are happy to have a validation screen. And so for the next step, there is already validation here, as you see. Approve, reject. And this one here looks like the resume of the point itself. And that's also a properly formatted document that's coming out of that, with all the contents here structured in the proper way. Then, towards the council itself, we have here the list of different points, the different cases, with so the different attachments as well. Do this one.
This one is to manage the holiday. They can target connect.
Sometimes we have, I've got a mic. Okay, I will repeat after him. In the use of the application, we found very often that some processes don't advance because there's just one single guy who isn't there, who is on holiday leave or on illness or whatever. And so we built in now this great feature in our last version here to be able to switch the validator or anyone inside the process and to let it go on. Now, what about the business value of this application itself? Of course, here you'll find a bunch of economic and political arguments as well, but this is really, really, really important. We have the centralization of all cases in one single application. In the paper era, there was a loss of paper and a problem of archiving. Well, now it's online, it's available, it's everywhere available. The follow-up of use case in real time is also a great feature, of course. Any responsible in the entire process knows at any time where are my different points, what is that status, is my point to be discussed on the council of this week or next week. You will see this. Centralized archiving as well. We actually don't have like a big archived solution aside the application. It really remains inside the application, and we are providing more and more capacity. This is how we work today. I believe at the end we will one day have to separate the things, but today it's not the big issue. Of course, it's anywhere accessible, and people are very happy with that. Certainly the mayors, they're extremely happy with this feature as well. They work on the tablets now. They do the validation when they have the time. One issue we had, well, to do proper backups of the applications here, we have different backend servers which we shut down overnight, take proper backups, and restart them. And we put a time frame like between 2 and 4 in the night. It's okay, we're happy with that. Next morning, we had this major shouting on the phone, since he was not able to validate his points. Well, why is the application down? And this mayor, well, he wants to use the application at 2 at night. So especially for his community, we moved his backup 1 hour later. But it's okay. We get this extremely important key user behind. There's also a simplification of the signing and the validation process. So you see the guy running with his bunch of papers and his signatories, where at the end the mayors, they are signing like robots. Well, here they are signing in a very economical way. And in Belgium we have this EID card with a certificate, which allows us to apply legal signing. And so it's just once in the entire process they have to validate the entire cycle at the end. And so this is, they are very happy with that as well, instead of signing every single point, you know. Green IT and cost cut. Green IT stays also on our agenda here. There is a reduction of paper consumption. This is massive. An average municipality that is using our application now has an immediate reduction of cost of paper and consumables of 20,000 euros a year. 20,000 euros. This is extremely, wow, massive. We don't get these 20,000 euros to do development, so forget it, but the economical reduction is there. And also, there was this little gimmick in presentation about transport, but this is really done. After councils, people getting into their car and drive to the other side of Brussels, get in traffic jams and things. What for? Just to have papers moved from one place to another. So now, electronically, just push a button and it goes away. And of course, for the administrations, this is more political arguments, but it is one of them. This is an image of modern administration. In the beginning, we had like a few pilot municipalities working on this application, and they were struggling to go live first. So they had to scoop in the press as well. See, hey, we are dematerializing. And it's still going on now. So this is also an argument, after all. Now, the more tricky part, I insisted to also show you a bit what's running underneath the application. How is it built, what are different components, and I am very, very glad to pass the word to Gabriel. Thank you.
So, thank you. It's a business session, so I will be very quick on some technical parts. As you can see, we use the same principle as Alfresco Share, and we just built our custom UI. So we have a front end here, just consuming REST services given by Alfresco. I would say custom REST services. We don't use CMyS here. Yes, we also use an external identity management. So it's an application used by all applications at CIRB. We also use single sign-on with CAS and SAML, and we have a lot of integration with external systems. About topology, just this slide just to say that we have a lot of virtual machine to maintain, to install, to configure, and this is just the production environment. So yes, quickly, 4 front-end server, 14 backends, more than 3,000 daily users, more than 3,000 consoles in the application, more than more than 800,000 documents in the system, and it's growing very fast every day. About technologies, for the front end we use Spring MVC, Bootstrap, Maven, FreeMarker tiles, and for the back end, of course, Alfresco. We are in 4.1.3. We also use AMQP to connect to queuing, to message-oriented middleware. We used Maven also to package. We have 4 environments: development, test, staging, with a copy of the production. We have to maintain those environments, patching, deploy, we made one release each 2 months, so 6 a year. So we have to deploy this release in each environment, each backend, each frontend. So what we start to do 3 years ago is to build continuous integration and continuous deployment process. What we have do so since now 3 years and is working production. We have Jira for ticket system. We are using Eclipse, Git to commit code. We have a build server. We are using Jenkins and Maven to package our backend and frontend, and also other applications. Just, I don't know if you have participated to the session given by Gabriel about continuous deployment and continuous delivery. Here we have to set up a process not only for Alfresco project, not only for Java project, but also for PHP, Python, Zope, Plone project, also for business object project. So we need to have an industrialization approach for each project. For testing, we are using JUnit, EasyMock, Cobertura, Sonar, and Selenium and GMeter for the smoke test. So we are, in fact, we are building some RAR, but also IPM, and we store this artifact in RPM repository and Nexus. We use also a deployment framework, so it's a framework to automate installation, configuration, and deployment. So with this tool, with only one command line, we can from scratch virtual machine install Alfresco, tune Alfresco, configure Alfresco, install Tomcat, configure Tomcat, and deploy or release. We also use VMware and Vagrant. And for manual QA, we are using Spear Test to play test. Yes.
Okay, now I come back to my business. How we deal with this kind of change, accompaniment, and how do we put this product on the market. So we build like an entire SaaS organization around our product here. So we're talking about people who don't know anything about the previous slide. We know it runs and it's there and it goes quickly. Actually, we do it all, everything, the entire stack. So this means development, as Gabriel told you, new release, migration. We also have derived products. So we have very easy means now to answer to same business needs for small organizations who also have a board. Can be internally as well, so why not? And we interface more and more with other platforms. We do deployment of different customer instances, so with all the different phases of an entire project actually. We do it with our own people and with people from Real Dolmen in the office as well. Then the hosting of the application, as I mentioned, we have our own data center, so everything is there. A server more or less, it's not a problem anymore. Capacity is there, servers are there, licenses are there, so everything we need. We are doing backups on remote sites. The application is not yet redundant over sites, but this is one of the objectives for the nearby future. We're not there yet, but it's already working very fine. We do the entire support chain, a classic service desk support, a second line functional support, third line applicative system support, and if needed, we call Alfresco as well. Not for the application, but for Alfresco itself, of course. And the training, we provide training to our users as well. There's also this part of governance, and there I slow down a little bit. This is also important. So in the different keynotes you saw here last days, I was talking about getting your customer on board. And this is a thing we do for several years already. We don't let them decide everything, since you need to have some standardization behind. And after all, let's be honest, organizing a council is organizing a council. But of course, the intermediate steps can be very variant, and you might have like different levels of decision making, but the process itself is quite standard. But after all, well, we are discussing with our customers about colors and button names and whatever, but the general steering, the general vision, where we want to go with them, well, they are consulted and we are happy to hear them as well. And so we have people we designed here as being key users for this application. We insist on that, so we have product champions inside each organization. And these are really driving the change on the workflow as well. And we work really in extremely direct contact with these people. We invite them to user clubs. So a few times a year, we have them all come together in our office. And we have a nice moment together, a bit summit style, but on a local level. What's new, SLA, possible improvements, roadmaps. And these people also participate in UAT, in the user acceptance tests. It's also a great thing. So they already have the look and feel of a new version, and okay, they also come back with latest remarks. We can still integrate. And of course, we also have this steering committee to get a global overview of everything. So I'm very proud on this part of our business. The means are there, and this is also the part of the success, I guess. Of course, we do service level management, the classical one with SLA and different incident management, performance monitoring, you name it. And then really driving the change. Well, the direct impact comes already from the dematerialization. You must imagine the ones you saw in the slide, okay, it was our own people. But you go down to these authorities, but you see still people working with a bunch of papers, and they're working there like 20, 30 years back. It's always there. So we are with a massive gap of what technology is able to do today. These are not people who are going to provide with a tablet up and, okay, let's go on. We'd like to do so. And some councils already do this. So they already use the tablets during councils. But what a big difference with the daily work on the floor. And so things are speeding up, but it takes time. And so here, of course, this is purely change management. So having people there and to explain people, well, we are going to help you to improve your work and do more interesting things and have it done faster in a more efficient way. Change of roles as well. People are changing roles because of using this application. Yeah. And it's a two-way driver. This is also very, very important and very funny for us as well. Of course, we come as a service provider. We had our agreements, we had the buy-in, the stakeholders, they are there. And so, okay, there we go. We have a standard to roll out. We know how many weeks it takes, what charge we have. That's all done, that's all dealt with. But we also have organizations that tell us, well, we are really, really interested in this application since we want to reorganize our internal structure. And they didn't find like the good reason to do this without having a lot of struggle internally. And so now it's more like, yeah, the opportunity of implementing a new product and saying, okay, well, let's do this efficiently. And so instead of having a flat structure with over 100 different services within one municipality, let's get it back to a more modern organization. Very funny, after all, here. And so they revamped their own organization. We also provide on-site support during rollout. That's also a big advantage, I think, of our organization. We have the means to do this. So my guys in my team, my service managers, I have 3 of them working on this application every day. During rollout, they are like 3 weeks on site, and they go around to different offices to be sure that everything is fine. So it's a great service, I think. For the few next steps, we have other applications using Alfresco under the hood. They are all modernizing. I just quote one of them. This one, Notero, is one we made also in partnership with Real Dolmen, isn't it? It's our virtual mail room. So incoming, outgoing paper mail is scanned, barcode on it, and it also goes through a workflow. The application is based on Alfresco Share and comes with a plugin which was developed specifically here. This is also the one we are developing and deploying now more and more rapidly afterwards. I told you about Nova in the beginning, the one with the permits. It's also heading for a new release, and there will be Alfresco underneath. Alfresco Share is still used as well. And on this side, we had our BOSS application, but we also have this exchange program with the regional authorities. And so it's also a derived product. Chancellery, that's the final application here. It's also derived from BOSS, and this one was put in place in less than 6 months. Our new government, I showed you on the picture before here, get started here, and they got the import of the entire history and a new branded application, which is much more like the one you saw here in the screenshots. And so they are working now, just a question of weeks to have all users in them and to get them started with this new application. Further integration of platforms here, and I think there's also one of the key issues. Gabriel told you about this CI/CD, so the integration and continuous deployment of tools. But we are also working furthermore with the same approaches for the development of the other platforms I showed you. And maybe I'll let you talk, I walk through that. I'll do this quickly, yeah? So you saw this Notiro application. Yeah. One platform is asking questions, requests for other platforms. Having mail coming in, paper mail coming in, scanning them, and putting them somewhere in the organization, it's just one of the inputs. But we have to deal with them. And some of these requests, they need a decision that goes to the board, so our board application. And so some of the points that go there need to go over to the regional authorities. So we have exchanges with these applications as well. And then the other side of the ministry of the region, of the Brussels region, they use a thing called Localia. It's a massive application which is done with competing technology, I won't name, regional authority. We also have welfare offices that are linked to the municipalities. They are heading towards the same use of Notiro, of BOSS as well. They also have their councils, so it's all the same way around. And on the other side here, when I come back here to information from the regional authority, some publications are publicly available in a free manner and are pushed in an environment we call Editoria, which is also running Alfresco. So you see, we have a few servers of Alfresco running. Huh? Editoria is part of Irisbox, the online self-service application for the citizen, which doesn't run on Alfresco, it's just for this part of Editoria here. But later on, our idea is to have people introduce online requests also for this Nova application. Today it's just not possible. They can consult their file and know where is my permit in the administrative phase, but later on there will be this possibility to introduce their request for permits, have the permits running in Nova on Alfresco as well. And as I told you, some permits need a decision here on the council. And there we are. So we are building an entire ecosystem here, grouping more like historical applications we have for a few years now, and coming all together. I would like to end here with a few points as BRIC, as an organization. What's in it for me, for us, since we are also growing with this. I didn't find a picture with you, so I thought this one would do. What's in it for us? It's a success story. That's clear. It's light, modern, easy application. It's highly standardized. We stressed a lot on this. Easy deployment, easy maintenance. We create derived versions. We're talking about rapid development now. So these are not developments of 3 years. Now we're talking in months. And things that are slowing down are even getting shorter. It's a self-selling application. We already have our order book filled for 2015. So organizations asking us, well, when can you come to us? We already have like 15 people working full-time on this application for all different aspects. And yeah, okay, we let them wait or we increase our staffing. We don't know yet. So with qualified staffing, working on that is also important. And more requests of integration with other platforms and DMS. So you saw, for us, this is the other way around. We don't have the authority, sufficient authority today to help most of our organizations to do a pure DMS project. But this is one of the ways to go there, to have questions coming over. Well, it works quite fine for this business, that business. Maybe we should have more like a global approach at the end. So the first questions are coming for that as well. And of course, a very important reason for us as well, being a public authority, is our own reputation of being a reliable application builder. We still have this preference for open source software. It's one of the main reasons also, historically, to have chosen Alfresco. To be a reliable service provider as well. Our things run smoothly. They are up and running. They are highly available, so they are supported. We have a very good understanding of the business. We go discuss with the customers. We go down to their sites. We invite them. So there is this constant dialogue between them. And of course, we are also there with the scale economy. So also very important in these days, of course. To build competence center here, to spend budget once, instead of having every local organization having to do its own development. And we also access to new customers. It's also very important. Customers that were around, but that they hear about these applications and say, okay, no, that's nice. I would like to have this as well. It's quickly, and so for us, it's also a starter to new business. And there we are. I thank you very much. I know we have time to take some questions. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I do have a question. Is you've made a huge internal optimization, but is it also, is there a shorter time for citizens of Brussels to receive their answer on a request or something?
We don't really have KPIs today to factualize this part of the game, but it certainly is. So in any case, knowing for each single point of decision where it is in the chain is already a guarantee to increase this time. Yeah, absolutely.
But there are no KPIs to citizens?
It depends, since the inputs of the points may come from different sources as well. So we could have this kind of things for Irisbox rather than for BOSS here. For Irisbox, where it is really the customer asking things here. So BOSS is not customer-faced, it's not citizen-faced. So really the office workers inside the municipalities who are introducing these points. And so what's coming before that, that is multi-source today. Okay. Okay.
Something which is built in or taken care of, or doesn't it exist?
So the question is, how do we deal with small variations inside the different organizations? Well, we are improving our processes around that. Maybe Gabriel, you can take this question, Jan.
Each application is completely configured. So we have more than 14 different instances, and yeah, they have to follow the same law, but yeah, it's not the same process, of course. So the workflow is different for each instance. The workflow is completely different, and in fact, we are managing meeting. So everything is configurable. You can configure 4 meeting, 5 kind of meeting. We can configure some option. For example, voting. If you need to manage voting on the meeting, voting. We also manage yeah. There is a lot of module, and we can switch off or switch on or configure or tune. It's a lot of configuration. Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you very much.